Hello guys, Rollback1 here, coming at you with a new YuGiOh video, and in today's YuGiOh video, we're going to be doing something I haven't done in a very long time, plus with a little added bonus. And in today's YuGiOh video, we're going to be opening the new Albaz Strike structure deck, but we're also going to be doing a deck profile in this video of what we can make with all three structure decks together to make a somewhat competitive build. Because honestly, guys, I'm not gonna joke when I say this structure deck is one of the best structure decks we have seen since the Salomon Great structure deck, where it had reprints like Ash Blossom in it. And this structure deck is very close to being very competitively viable. Like, if you wanted to make this competitive, all you really need to do is add a few changes, or, you know, pick up Despia, but who wants to pick up Despia right now? But you could literally make this competitive with itself at locals, and if you want to just put up to a regional level, you just need to get a few extra cards as well. So yeah, in today's video, we're going to be opening one of these structure decks, and we're also going to be going ahead and showcasing you a £30 deck profile with all three of these structure decks together to show you guys a playable list that you guys could take to your locals and feasibly still top with. So yeah guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this and open up one of these decks boxes. So let's swap over to the table cam and open up the box. So obviously we've got the new Albaz structure deck here, which is honestly really cool packaging. Like, you've got the new Mirror Jade Dragon, you've got Lubellion here, and then on the back you have like YuGiOh with Albaz. Albaz seems to be really sad, like, I don't know why. Albaz is so sweet. And you've also got all the card list here as you would on a normal structure deck, and everything else along those lines. So without further ado, let's go ahead and crack this open and see what we get. So obviously you get the standard mat. You got this stupid plastic thing that stops the, cardboard thing that stops the deck box from falling around, which is pretty good, but I think I preferred it back in the day when they did plastic, just because it felt like it protected the deck better. And then we've got the lovely structure deck here that starts off with the looks of it of a, well, Tri-Brigade Mercourier. And honestly, let's go ahead and take a look at the mat first, because honestly, the rubber mat looks pretty good. So let's take a look at the plastic one. Sorry, the paper one that you get with it. So looking at it, if I can open the thing, I can't open it. So looking at it, and we'll swap to the face cam, I think, for this one. We have got a really decent mat here with like Lubellion on this side, Mirror Jade on this side, and it actually looks like a pretty decent mat in terms of just like art. So if you can get the rubber one for the structure deck mat, that actually looks really nice. You've got some good stuff there. And then on the back, it looks really cool actually. You've got like all the kind of combos that Konami recommends over here, with some actual lore as well, which is just up here in the corner. Honestly, that's new. I don't think they've ever added like a lore segment into these structure decks, which is actually really cool, because like you've got over there, you've got Fleur de Lis with YuGiOh, you've got Ablipton in the church, sorry, not Ablipton, Aluba in the church, you've got YuGiOh and the Deer, you've got Branded Diffusion over there. Like, you've got a lot of different artwork here, which is actually really nice. And then you've just got a combo guide and just the card list. So yeah, like the actually just adding that art to it is actually probably the best thing on this mat. Like, I really do like that little art segment that they've added, because that's something that you don't normally see, and the Dogmatica lore is actually really nice. So yeah, but let's go ahead and put that to the side now and get into opening this structure deck. So going into the structure deck, obviously we've got the nice little plastic around it, what they use to just protect the deck in general. So let's go ahead and open it and see what's inside. So starting off, we obviously have the Tri-Brigade Mercourier, the new hand trap that literally says if you control an Albaz fusion monster, you discard this card from your hand to negate an effect your opponent uses. And also, you can go ahead and, when this card is banished, add one card that lists Fallen Albaz in its card text to your hand, well, one monster, or you can go ahead and add yeah, you can add from your deck to your hand one Fallen Albaz or one monster. Yeah, that mentions Fallen Albaz. So you can add a Fallen Albaz or another monster if it's banished, which is kind of nice. The best card I would say in the structure deck, and the only reason why you can pretty much play this structure deck at a somewhat competitive level, Spriggan's Kit, because this card is actually very good. What this card does is, if you control a fusion Albaz monster, you can special this card from your hand, and when this card is normal or special summoned, you just get to go ahead and pretty much add any branded card from your deck to your hand, or spell and trap card, and then you get to go ahead and just return one card from your hand to the deck. Now, sure, this isn't a +1 or anything, but the fact that you have the ability to just add branded fusion straight from your deck to your hand is very powerful, and can help you in a lot of different areas, and just get rid of bricks in your hand, put back the garnets, and just allow you to do things like like that, so which is really nice. The new Golden Sword Soul, honestly, this card isn't that great. It's one of the weaker cards in the structure deck. It says when a monster declares an attack, you special this card from your hand, and if you do negate that attack, then if you control a fusion monster that mentions Fallen of Albaz, you can destroy the monster that declared an attack. If a monster is banished face up, except during the damage step, you can banish the card from your field or graveyard, special one light spellcaster from your hand or graveyard whose attack equals its own defense. So pretty much what this card is here for is like some sort of battle removal / battle negation, while at the same time also having the ability to summon Ecclesia from your deck. So yeah, kind of cool. And then we go on to the fusion monsters here with firstly Mirror Jade Iceblade Dragon, which is actually really strong because this card is the best card in the structure deck, and the whole reason why you can actually build a 30-pound build of this deck that is just somewhat competitive in locals and stuff as well, which is nice. And what this card does essentially is you can only control one of it, but once per turn as a cost, you can send one fusion monster from your extra deck that lists Albaz on it from your extra deck to the graveyard, and then you get to go ahead and banish one monster on the field. So pretty much it's free removal, which is really nice, and it also has the ability to just go ahead and when it's destroyed, destroy all special summon monsters your opponent controls during the end phase. So if your opponent does remove it from the field, or if you want to banish something and also get free recyclability from the graveyard, this card is absolutely insane. Next, we've got Lubellion, the Searing Dragon. This card is also very strong in the fact that when this card is fusion summoned, you can go ahead and fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck by using monsters that are in your graveyard or field as material to fusion summon from your extra deck by discarding one card. But the only problem with that is that this card can't attack for the rest of the turn. But nonetheless, that's still really strong. Just having the ability to just go, oh yeah, discard a card, fusion summon from your graveyard, banished, or field, like, it's a very nice card and very good recyclability. And then we go on to the best card and the most meta-relevant card, Branded Fusion. Essentially, this is just Shadow Fusion for literally any Albaz fusion monster. You can go ahead and fusion summon one fusion monster that mentions Fallen of Albaz as material from your extra deck, using two monsters from your hand, field, or deck. So card is very strong, card is very insane, and is why this deck is meta. And then we've got Branded Sword. This is one of the cards that I don't really think is going to see much play, but it's still pretty decent for the fact that you can banish any number of branded spells or traps from your graveyard, and then you special summon that many Ice Blade tokens, Dragon Dark, 2500 attack, 2000 defense, and you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one of your banished monsters that specifically lists Fallen of Albaz or mentions it, and add that card to your hand. Now, this card is decent, just for the fact that obviously you're special summoning huge tokens, which is really nice, but at the same time, you've got to have the branded stuff in graveyard as set up already, so maybe at most you will have like maybe that one branded fusion in graveyard at times just to be able to use this, but I don't think it's going to see much play outside of that, but you could use it on a local level. And then Branded Retribution, which is pretty much just counter trap that negates an effect that would special summon a monster. So yeah, it's not the best card. Like, when a spell slash trap or monster effect is activated that includes an effect that special summons a monster's, return to the extra one face-up fusion monster you control, or two fusion monsters in your graveyard that mention Fallen of Albaz as material, and if you do, negate the activation. If you do that, destroy that card. Yeah, so it's not amazing, but it does have an additional graveyard effect, which I think is pretty good, that says you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one branded spell in your graveyard, except Branded Retribution, add it to your hand. So it's nice because it's a recyclability card. And now going on to the other cards, which aren't really new, we've got Fallen of Albaz. This is pretty much super poly. Albion, the Shrouded Dragon. This card is not great for the deck either. This card is pretty much just you can shuffle it into the deck to gain one of its effects. One would be special summoning itself, or the other would be drawing a card. One, Dogmatica Fleur de Lis. I mean, I don't know why it's printed as a common, but it's a pretty decent card. Too bad there's no other Dogmaticas in here. Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, like Dragon Link in this structure deck is really nice. Kaiju's also Supreme Kaiju. Leia Villanueva, just a very good card. Raijin, like Radiant. This card is insane, like just for going second as well, because you can. The good thing about this structure deck, and one of the reasons why I can actually play competitively, is because they give you two Kaijus of the correct attribute, which is light and dark, which will allow you to go ahead and just make your Ablipton, Lubellion, or even Albion, which I believe is a common in the structure deck as well. So just go ahead and allow you to go into Ice Jade on turn 1 no matter what, or even on turn 2, and just break your opponent's board. So it gives you ways to break your opponent's board by also having the ability to just go ahead and say, yeah, I'm going to summon Albaz and just use your cards as fusion material, which is really nice. Continuing on though, we also have Artifact Scythe. I honestly don't know why this is printed in here. The Collapsed Serpent and the Wyvern Buster, just free summons, I guess, like, you know, I don't think that it really needed. Starly Safer, great reprint. Keeper of Draconic Magic. This card is actually pretty good for the fact that if this card is normal summoned, you can just go ahead and add a fusion spell card from your deck to your hand. So this card says, oh yeah, I'm going to normal summon and add Branded Fusion. Like, There's nothing wrong with that. This is just a +1, and it could be considered as a replacement for Albaz. So if you do want to play this, because I believe it does lock you into fusion monsters regardless, you can very easily just add branded fusion from your deck to your hand. One Summoner Monk, this is just how we're going to probably be free summoning cards, which is really nice. Good hand traps in Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit with also Effect Veiler. Just really good hand trap reprints too. Like, as I said, this structure deck is insane for reprints. Omni Dragon Brotor, very nice card. Branded lost another new card, which is actually very, very decent for the fact that it stops your opponent from being able to negate the activation or effects that would fusion summon, and can also stop your opponent from chaining 2 fusion summoner monsters. But the thing that is really nice about this is whenever you summon a fusion monster, you can go ahead and add one card that specifically lists Albaz in its text, or add Albaz itself to your hand. So this is actually a very good card in my opinion, and it's very, very nice. Branded in white, just a free fusion summon spell, I believe. You can fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material, including a dragon monster, and you can also banish monsters from your graveyard as material if you use Fallen of Albaz as fusion material. So yeah, it's just pretty much a invocation in this deck. Branded Bond, this is just a free summon back for your Albaz. Fusion Gate, fusion deck. Fusion Recycle Plan allows you to add Polymerization. Fusion Substitute, I guess that's the Polymerization. Gold Sarcophagus, this is actually pretty good as well. It's just a nice reprint. The best reprint in the set, Pot of Extravagance, just being a card that literally says you can banish up to 6 to draw 2, Pot of Greed. Like, this structure deck is insane just for the fact that this was reprinted in here, and honestly, will probably retain value because of it. So yeah, very nice reprint there. Called by the Grave, very good reprint there too. Dark Ruler No More. Like, this deck is built to go second, and honestly, the fact that we've got stuff like Dark Ruler and more in here, absolutely insane, because it allows us to go second even easier. Screams of the Branded, if a fusion monster is sent to graveyard, you can go ahead and special summon a fusion monster, which is actually kind of alright. Branded Judgment, this is pretty much just a Raigeki. We can target a level 8 or higher fusion monster, destroy all monsters your opponent controls with attack equal or higher to that monster's attack. So yeah, pretty good card. Necro Fusion, just like, I can trap card fusion just recycle my stuff, which is really decent. Back to the front, I get really good psychability for my Albaz. Warning Point, this is a card that actually is pretty decent but isn't amazing. Pretty much what all this card does is when a monster is summoned this turn, that face up monsters cannot attack, its effects are negated and cannot be used as fusion XCs, synchro or link materials. So not a bad card, but not an amazing card. There can only be one. Floodgates. Dimensional Barrier, an insane card against this deck itself for the fact that it can stop you from summoning Xyz, Fusion, Ritual, or Pendulum monsters for the turn, and seeing as this is a fusion deck, this card is insane. Waking the Dragon, it's Waking the Dragon. You kill it, we get free resources. And then just going on to other fusion cards, we've got Titaniclad, which is just can add a Dogmatica or Albaz from the deck or summon them during the end phase. Glory Dragon can summon a Tri-Brigade or a Fallen of Albaz during the end phase. They have other effects, but they're not really relevant most of the time. Iron Dash Dragon, this one can go ahead and special summon your kit, which is really nice, or summon Albaz. And Albion the Branded Dragon, which is actually just really good for the fact that this card can go ahead and set any branded card from the deck during the end phase. So you can go ahead and get, if you're playing in the competitive version, you can set branded in red, or in this case, we'd probably just go ahead and add another branded fusion if we choose to play free structure decks, which might be your choice if you like the deck profile that we're going to go for. And then just some really nice tokens that Konami have given us here as well, which with like 2 like little divider things as well. But yeah, so that is the whole structure deck opening. Honestly, I really do like these tokens as well. These are really beautiful tokens. My favorite one will be this one because Albaz the Dogmatic is just like, this is really nice. And they've even added like nice little texts to them as well. Like you got Ecclesia the Exiled, Albaz the Shrouded, you've got the Virtuous Vessels. And honestly, these are just really nice. But I think this is my favorite token out of all of them because Albaz without his mask actually looks really nice, and I really wish I had this in foil. I'll have to get an OCG one because these actually came in foil in the OCG, so this is really, really nice. But now that we've opened the structure deck, it's time to actually go onto the deck profile now, so we'll go ahead and move over to that. So swap into deck profile. Okay guys, so you've seen me open the structure decks, you've seen all the lovely reprints, and you've seen every card that is in the structure deck. Now it's time for me to show you guys a deck made with all free structure decks. A £30 budget, somewhat locals competitive deck profile that is great for going second and can literally wipe the floor with, well, a lot of the meta decks unless they're playing like DPE Scythe, because, you know, that deck's just dumb and we don't want to talk about it. But if you're not playing that, you guys have a very good chance of topping your locals with this, and can honestly break a lot of boards and can go through a lot of different players and go first really easy as well, which I really like. So without further ado, let's go ahead and show you the deck profile, show you what I've chosen from the structure decks to put into the main deck, the side deck, and the extra deck. So let's go ahead and get into this to show you guys the deck. So starting off, we play 3 Fallen of Albaz. He is our brand of fusion target. We need him for every fusion monster that we can make in this deck, and also he is very nice for the fact that you can use most of the monsters that your opponent will have to fusion summon any of your dragons from your extra deck. So he is absolutely insane. He is a great card just to go ahead and normal summon, and also he's never going to be a brick because he has super polymerization as well. So card is great, card is really nice, and you have to play 3 of him because he's not only a really good normal summon, but he's also your main target for branded infusion, so you need to play 3 of him for that. Next we play 3 Spriggan's Kit. This card is mandatory at 3 as well, for the fact that 1, it's a free special summon if you can control a branded dragon, but also the fact that you can go ahead and normal summon it or special summon it, and then go ahead and search your branded fusion, any of your branded spell or trap cards, and then just go ahead and put a card from your hand back into the deck as well that you didn't really need. So the card is very good and very necessary in the deck for the fact that it just guarantees that you can get to your branded fusion, which is your best turn 1 play, and just allow you to play the game from there. Next we play 3 Keeper of Dragon Magic. This card is also very important to play in the deck because this card allows you to get to your branded fusion as well. Simply normal summon it, search branded fusion, go from there and play the game. The card is very important at 3, and it's just as important as Kit, just slightly less because obviously it's not a free special summon. But the one thing that is actually better than this, I will say, to Kit, is the fact that it's not a -1, it is a +1. Well, not a neutral, it's a +1. Because the fact of the matter is, when you normal summon it, you don't have to put anything back. So you just normal summon it, you don't have to put anything back like Kit, so you play 3 of it because of that. So really nice. And then just for some one-offs, we're playing 1 of the Tri-Brigade Mercourier, because when this card is banished, you can go ahead and add your Kit, you can go ahead and add your Albaz, or you can go ahead and do anything along those lines. It's a hand trap if you control a fusion dragon, so it's really good there as well. And the only reason we're not playing more of it is obviously because the hand trap function, you do have to control the extra dragon, so you can't really do anything with it other than that. But I do like it as a one-off because if we get it, we can search it off the branded Lost, or we can go ahead and just banish it with something like Gold Sarcophagus to go ahead and add Kit from our deck to our hand, which is really nice. So yeah, I like it for those reasons. The Golden Sword Soul, we play 1 of this just as another hand trap sort of card, saying if your opponent attacks us while we have a dragon, then we can go ahead and destroy that monster, get a free special summon, and also if we banish this card, we can go ahead and also just special summon the other one of Fleur-de-Lis from our deck, which is just really nice as well. And also the fact of the matter, we play 1 of this just to help us like get that extra damage in, because Fleur-de-Lis can become really big. So yeah, we play 1 of her because we want her to get really big. Going on to the hand traps, obviously this deck gave us 6, so we're playing all 6 of the hand traps, 3 Veiler and 3 Ogre. This is just very good for the fact that Veiler can go ahead and stop a lot of things in the format regardless, and then Ghost Ogre is just really strong against the Brave engine. So yeah, if your opponent is playing Brave at locals, you have the best hand trap to stop it by stopping their journey, their fateful adventure, and just going from there, because this card is actually a very good card and just allows us to out it. So we've got 6 really good hand traps in general. And if you don't feel like that's enough, we also have other cards that will allow us to go ahead and out opponents' boards, such as our 4 Kaijus, our 2 Thunder King, and our 2 Raijin. Reason we play 2 of each is because we don't really want to open all of them in our opening hands, because obviously if we're going first, they're not going to really do a lot for us, but if we're going second, they're going to be very insane, because if we open a Kaiju and an Albaz going second, this can guarantee us going into our Ice Jade Dragon, or our Mirror Jade Dragon as I should call it, to being allowed to just go ahead and go for our opponent and have that banish, which will also allow us to get consistency later on in the game. So these are not only removal cards, but also fusion targets to allow us to go into Mirror Jade Dragon to just go ahead and banish more cards and also get more consistency as well, which is really nice. But those are all the monsters. Honestly, the monster lineup, I don't think you really need to change much. You could add a few more cards, such as maybe you could add more of the Courier, you could add more of the Golden Sword Soul, you could add a few other cards, but I like these, and I don't think you need anything extra really for the monsters counts in general. Going on to spells, we play 3 Branded Fusion, because it's Branded Fusion card's insane. If you open it, you literally just go ahead and make Mirror Jade and have everything you could possibly need, which is really nice. 3 Pot of Extravagance is Pot of Greed in this deck, and seeing as we want more consistency in this deck as is, playing 3 of this is fine. And honestly, yes, you could banish 3 of a kind, but we're running a lot of 3 ofs in our extra deck already, and we're running 2 ofs of some of the other cards, so as long as you don't banish all your Mirages or all your Lubellions or all of your Albions, you're pretty much going to be safe. So we play 3 Extravagance just for the fact that drawing 2 is really nice. Or if you just want to, I don't know, upstart Goblin it and banish 3 random cards, then you can do that as well, because you don't necessarily need to draw 2 of this card. Just having that 1 draw at times could also be very useful. Other spells, we're playing 2 Branded Lost. This card is very, very good in this deck. As I said, I think this card is great for the fact that not only does it protect you from being negated on your fusion summons or having your opponent respond when you fusion summon, but also it gives you the ability to add your Courier, the Golden Sword Soul. It allows you to add Kit. It allows you to add Albaz himself. This card just gives you a free plus, which is really, really nice, and I think is great for this deck in general. So I feel like playing out 2 in the deck is necessary if you're playing the pure structure deck build. If you're not, I'd run out of 1, because with the Branded and the Despia, I feel like you only need 1 of this card, but in the structure deck one, definitely play 2. We also play for 1 Branded in white for the fact that it's just literally Invocation, which is really nice. So we have that ability to just go ahead and use, well, banish stuff from the graveyard to fusion summon. Really, really good. 1 Branded Bond to just go ahead and revive our Albaz. Like if we want to go ahead and summon Albaz back and then just go into our fusion plays again. Card is very, very nice, which I really like. 1 Gold Sock to go ahead and banish the Courier to go ahead and give us a free search for the kit. And then 1 Called by the Grave just to prevent some hand traps from going off as well. Just to have that little protection from like Ash Blossom and all the stuff that we don't have in the structure decks. Going on to trap cards though, we're playing 3-Dimensional Barrier. Obviously this format we're going to be seeing a lot of Branded, so I thought, oh yeah, we'll throw in 3-Dimensional Barrier. Our opponent activates Branded Fusion, we flip the Dimensional Barrier, they're locked out for the turn. And honestly, this card is also very good against a lot of the other strategies, such as, oh, I don't know, PK for instance, or Prank Kids, all these decks that do require specific extra deck types. So I felt like this was just a really good card, and hell, even against Sword Soul, you can just call Synchro and then they just locked out for the turn. So I thought this was just a really, really nice card, and definitely a 3-of, because if you go first and you flip this card, I would think this card would be absolutely insane, especially in the structure deck alone. And then for our last few cards, we're playing 1 Branded Sword, just for the fact that we can summon a lot of tokens, 1 Screams of the Branded, just to be able to bring back our Ice Jade if it does somehow die, and then also finally 1 Branded Retribution, for the fact that Branded Retribution is just a counter trap that can prevent our opponent from special summoning some stuff. So I think that is just very decent, and also the fact that we can banish it from the graveyard to go ahead and add back any of our other Branded spells or traps is really, really nice. So yeah, like all of that in general. Going on to the extra deck though, we do play 2 Titaniclad. This one is pretty much the one that says if your opponent controls a monster with more than 2500 attack, you can fusion summon it with your Albaz, and also can just get really, really big, because I believe it also is unaffected by other monster effects as well. It is unaffected by the activated effects of any monster special from the extra deck, and can just go big by gaining attack of the combined monsters levels, which is really, really nice as well. And then you can also just go ahead and use it to summon Albaz during the end phase if it just die, or just go ahead and add Albaz from your deck to your hand. 2 Sprint. This card is actually pretty cool as well, because this can actually just move columns and kill all cards in other columns. And to fusion summon it, you need to use a monster that was special summoned this turn, 1 effect monster, so it can be harder to use. But the good thing about this deck is that if you've used Ice Jade and they still have an effect monster that they special summon this turn, you can just go ahead and special summon the Albaz and then use their monster to make Sprint, and then just move Sprint during your main phase and then destroy that column, which is really good, I would say. So we play 2 of Sprint as well. 2 Brygand the Glory Dragon. This card is also, if your opponent controls a level 8 or higher monster, you can use that as fusion material, and then it just cannot be destroyed by battle as well, which is kind of decent. And also you can, the other effect is while you control this fusion summon card, your opponent cannot target other monsters you control with card effects. So yeah, these cards aren't very necessary in terms of fusion summoning, but we have to play 2 of each, because obviously we don't have a lot of other options to use, such as maybe Starving Venom Dragon, Dragos Pelio, just really good fusion targets that we could potentially use, but we play 2 of each just for the fact that they don't really give us any more advantage in the fact of that we have more dragons in our extra deck that we'd rather summon outside of these if we can. So all of them have a purpose, all of them are super poly targets with Albaz, and all of them are very, very strong, so they all have their own rights. And obviously this one can summon Courier from the deck, this one can summon Kit from the deck, and then this one can summon Fleur de Lis from the deck, but they all have the ability to summon Albaz from the deck or add it to hand, which is really, really nice. And then going on to other fusions, we play free Albion. We obviously play free Albion. He's literally one of the best dragons for the fact that you can go ahead and banish fusion materials from the graveyard when fusion summoned to go ahead and fusion summon your Mirror Jade dragon, which is just really, really good. And also the fact when he's sent to graveyard during the end phase, you can go ahead and set or add to hand a branded spell or trap is just very, very insane as well. So it just gives you consistency and also allows you to go into Mirror Jade very, very easily as well, which I really like. We also play free Lubellion, which is just the opposite of the Albion dragon for the fact that this one also takes a light monster to make, where this one takes a dark monster to make. So you have access to go ahead and super poly with Albaz there, but also for the fact that this one has to discard a card and doesn't have any graveyard effects, so it is slightly worse than Albion. But we still have to play it for the fact that we discard a card, we go ahead and use our opponent's Dark Monster fusion summon into it, and then we also just go ahead and make Albaz through that way. Well, sorry, Mirror Jade Dragon through that way as well. And then finally, obviously, we play free Mirror Jade Dragon, because this card is absolutely insane. Not only does it send your Albaz dragons to graveyard as cost to go ahead and then banish card on board, but it just goes ahead and during the end phase, if it was destroyed, then you can just go ahead and destroy all special summon monsters your opponent controls. So if this card does leave the board, your opponent's losing everything, and also you can just go ahead and banish any card your opponent has, which is just, well, any monster your opponent has, which is just really, really nice as well. If it's negated, you don't get the banish, but you still get the dragon to graveyard as a cost. So during the end phase, you can summon that Albaz and then just fusion what your opponent has left anyway. So card is very insane. Card is a Raigeki, which I think is really, really nice, and also just a free banish in general, slash allowing you to get consistency. The card is just very strong and is just very, very good. But yeah, that's the main deck and the extra deck. Honestly, I would say this deck as just a straight structure deck that you can take into locals is very, very strong. And the best part about the structure deck as well, they also gives you a somewhat feasible side deck if you wanted to play side deck as well. So we'll also show off the kind of side deck idea that I have for this deck. So, starting off, we obviously play 1 of each kaiju. We're already playing 2 of each in the main, but if we are forced to go second, we will put 2 more in just for the fact that, oh yeah, we can tribute more monsters and just go from there, which is really, really nice. And if we open Albaz with like 2 kaijus, that means we get rid of 2 problem monsters. Like, that's great. Like, there's no reason not to do that. We play 2 Tri-Brigade Mercury just for the fact that you don't have a lot of options to side, but this is just an extra hand trap that you can make. So if you go first, then you can go ahead and put these 2 in just to have that additional negation after you've made your fusion monster, which is really, really nice. And if you can somehow banish it, then you can go ahead and use its effect to go ahead and search your kit, which is also really good. 2 of the Golden Sword Soul, just as more hand traps. Like if we do go second, we can put these in just as that additional option to go ahead and negate battles and also destroy monsters, which is kind of nice, which I do kind of like just for the fact that, yeah, we special summon it, we stop our opponent from attacking us. Nothing really wrong with that in any way, shape or form. Then obviously one of the best cards, free Dark Ruler No More. If we're guaranteed to go second, we put 3 of this in, we go ahead and look at our opponent's big board, we use this, we break the board, we build our Ice Jade, and then we just go from there, because Mirror Jade Dragon, very, very strong and also very good. Then just for trap cards, we also side, we play 1 Judgment of the Branded. This isn't an amazing trap, but the fact that you can set it during the end phase with stuff like Brett Albion and stuff is really, really nice. And just the fact that you can target 1 level 8 or higher fusion monster control and destroy all monsters your opponent controls with more attack than that card or equal attack is just kind of decent as well, which I think means it's a great card to just have in the deck as just a nice little removal if your opponent does play a lot of big monsters. So yeah, I like that. 2 Branded Retribution. If I know my opponent plays a lot of special summon based spells, then we go ahead and put these 2 in just because it's a good way to go ahead and negate our opponent, and also it just gives us more recyclability as well in our side deck. And then finally we play 3 Warning Point, which we always put in if we go first, just for the fact that we see an Alistair, we go ahead and put this in. We see any general normal summon effect, we go ahead and put this in, because if they can't use their normal summon monster effect or their, say, special summoned extra deck effect, then this card is going to be very, very strong and just gives us that additional ability to prevent our opponent from using these cards. So yeah, but guys, that is the entire deck. Honestly, I think this deck is a great option to play if you just want to get into the game, maybe have something competitive for your locals, maybe have something great to play in general, and I really do think it is a lot of fun as well. Because like pure Albaz, like if you get a few more cards for this deck, say you wanted to upgrade it and you didn't want to get all the Despia stuff, you get like some Kaiju Slumbers, you get some like more hand traps, you get a little going second cards. Like this deck going second could be actually really insane and could be very somewhat competitively viable, which I really, really like, because it's very rare you see a structure deck that you only need to spend maybe like an extra tenner to actually make somewhat, well, with the Ash Blossoms it's going to be a bit more than that, it's probably like an extra 40 quid to go ahead and make something actually viable for the format. But it's really, really cool to know that Konami have made something that is possible with that, just for the fact that all you really need to do to make this deck slightly better to go second is get out some Kaiju Slumbers, some hand traps, some more stuff along those lines, or even to just go first, you can go ahead and pick up some other cards like maybe the Despia to go first, because of going first with the Despia is absolutely insane. You could pick up like a Dragoon and a Hexion Fusion to go ahead and give you more access into that. Like there are a lot of actual things that you can pick up to make this deck a lot better, but right now with just the structure deck alone, I think it's very decent for locals. And if you did just want to go to your locals, buy 3 structure decks and then walk in and say, yeah, I have a somewhat competitive deck that could actually be played, this is one of the ones in a long time that actually is feasibly possible to do that. But guys, that's all I have to say in this video. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed the structure deck opening. I hope you enjoyed this deck profile. I hope you got some ideas for your own maybe Albaz structure deck. Maybe you can also get some upgrades like the Kaiju Slumbers or the hand traps like I recommended. But guys, that is all I actually have to say. So thank you so much for watching, guys. There will be some more content coming up with this structure deck as well, most likely. I'm going to try and do a duel with Fingers Crossed with it, so we can have a little series going with that where we do some structure deck content together. But hopefully that will happen soon. We're trying to work on it, and yeah. But guys, that's all I have to say. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy. Robot1, signing out. Later all.